everybody. What's happening? It's your buddy KV coming at you on a little bit of a chilly Thursday here in Minneapolis. Welcome to the approach. No guitar in hand today. That's all right with me. We're going to have a fantastic discussion with just this amazing artist that I discovered fairly recently, and I'm thrilled that she decided to come on to the show, and we're going to talk, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I want to introduce to you my new friend. Her name is Sari Schorr. She is right there. Yeah.
Hi.
Hey there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you,
Yeah.
Ken?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. This is good to see you. And yeah, usually, and I'll let Sarah tell you about this a little bit, but usually we do the whole, going back and forth musically and chit chatting and stuff. But Sari lives in a place where she got to keep quiet, and that voice of hers is very, very, very loud. So we gotta, and it's a beautiful thing. And we're going to get right on into that because, you're a singer. And if anybody has ever heard you, you belt. You can blow. And it is a good thing. It is a good thing.
Thank you. I do have a few neighbors here in Brooklyn, as you can imagine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So are you a Brooklyn girl? Are you a New Yorker full on or?
Yeah, I was born in Queens in Fresh Meadows.
Oh, wow.
Actually, yeah.
Very cool. So what kind of led you down this road? Because I guess ultimately, before we even go there, you're classically trained. You're operatic. Is that right?
I am. I was really lucky. I found a fabulous Juilliard teacher really
Wow.
early on. Yeah,
Sure.
and I just wanted to learn technique, learn how to really operate my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And that has really served me because, I honestly can do like seven shows a week for months and not have a problem.
Right.
Except my feet hurt. That's the problem.
It's the shoes.
And I get hungry. Other than that, I could go on forever.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Gloria.
Oh my gosh.
I owe
That's
it all
great.
to her.
Oh my goodness. Well, tell me. I want to know more about you. I mean, so just
I'm going to make it all up,
this you do it, and I would probably be none the wiser. But
I'll tell you everything, but I'm going to change all the names, all right?
Yeah, there we go, dude. Yeah. Innocents are okay. So, but yeah, I want to know more about you because I got turned on to you through mutual friends. Gosh, if I'm trying to think, like Tommy Baldwin, I think is one of somebody that told me about you once, and man, when I heard you, I was like, goodness gracious.
Tommy, I think I owe you $50.
There we go. It's like, man, she can sing and she's got some songs. And, it seems to me that you have a very, very strong following out in Europe. And, I was telling you before we got on here that I've been really digging into your catalog. But today in particular, I kind of went into the live record that you had done. And you have this band that's just this machine, and then you got this voice that's just driving this machine. So I want to know everything. I want to know everything, true or untrue. And
Wow.
You tell me, where did it all start for you?
I'm having these flashbacks right now. I've just gone through like 40 years of a career already with all these different images. I think I have to go lie down. But where did it start? I have to give credit or blame to my mother, who loved music and started playing piano before I was born. So the story is I was singing before I could even walk.
Sure.
Yeah, and she said about like 19 months I was sitting next to her and playing piano with her. Now, this is obviously a mother with unconditional love because there's no way I was actually playing piano. I was banging the hell out of the piano.
Right.
But a loving mother will frame it differently. But she was, and my father loved music too. He used to drive. He was an Air Force fighter pilot, And in the car, he would drive with his niece conducting the music on the radio. My mother was a fashion model. And, they were just really, creative, fun-spirited people. My grandparents were also musicians. My grandfather played the saxophone. My grandmother, Bertha, always wanted to be a singer. And I sort of followed in her footsteps. She wasn't able to pursue her dream. So I feel like she is definitely walking alongside me through this journey. And, it was just, a lot of years just doing what I love without recognition, but it's okay when you're doing something you love.
Right.
And it was always it's a fine line between pursuing art for the sake of art and ambition. Mm-hmm. And I struggled with that for a long time. And, learned by working with great musicians who were much more accomplished than myself, who never achieved the kind of recognition that I felt they deserved, but seeing them give it all every time they got up in front of an audience. And, having this respect for the music and for the craft and for the audience who's there to hear you, that made such a huge impression on me. And, I was really grateful to be able to just do what I did, even, if it was, on a smaller scale.
Sure.
But I have to say, it's a lot more fun being successful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It makes life a lot easier. That's the thing. That's
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how did you, I guess, how did you transition from doing this New York thing and getting into Europe?
So I will tell you a secret. I had actually been spending a lot of time in Paris, and I was asked to produce an Amnesty International project. And it was fantastic. It was very exciting. And the only problem was I had to come back to New York to produce Carly Simon. Now,
wow.
I know. Doesn't that sound impressive? But producing Carly Simon means you hit the record button and she does it in one take and you say, "Oh my God, thank you." And that's it.
Right.
I did nothing, but it was fantastic. And I just adore her. I love her. I want to do, Carly, I want to do something with you.
There you
We
go.
talked about it, and we're going to do something.
Carly is an avid watcher and listener to this podcast and this live stream.
So.
You're so vain.
Yep. So I came back to New York, and the timing was just amazing. I was asked to do a Rory Gallagher tribute.
Oh, wow.
Which
Cool.
it was a real honor because I'm not a guitar player, and I was the only non-guitar player and the only female artist on the bill.
Right.
So, but the producer who was organizing it really wanted me on the show, and Joe Louis Walker was on that show.
Goodness gracious.
And that's how we met. And then I was back in Paris, and I got a phone call from Joe saying, "Need you to get your ass back to New York because I want you in the band."
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
"I think you have the wrong number."
Yeah, right.
But no, it was really him, and I said okay, and came back and had a fantastic run with Joe. It was just about a year, maybe exactly a year.
Sure.
And met all these great musicians, as I was touring all around the world with Joe. And the International Blues Challenge in Memphis came up.
Sure.
And a lot of my friends were going down to compete. And I had the time open, and I thought, I'm going to go, just to lend my support. And I'm not going to mention names because I'm taking the high road here. But there was someone who was trying to act as a manager, and he told me, do not go to Memphis. Do not go, to the Blues Challenge because you're a nobody, and until you're a somebody, you're a nobody. You don't belong going there. And,
What?
Yeah, and you know what the problem was? I agreed with him. I said, you're right.
No. And but you were just out with Joe Louis Walker, and you the Carly Simon thing. You're like rubbing elbows, man, with with legends.
So, I mean, I'm not as smart as I look. How are you going to answer that? So,
I don't say the word.
but the next morning, the next morning, I woke up and I was like, "Damn, that doesn't feel right." And
No.
I want to be a part of the community. It's not about being someone. Everyone is someone,
Right.
and it's just about supporting people who share your love of blues and get your ass out there. And I
Right.
did. I
Good.
did. I got on a plane the next day. And he also said, you can't, everything is booked up a year in advance, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I went out there. I didn't have a hotel, but I went into, the main hotel, which is the Sheraton there. Because, there's always cancellations. People get sick, whatever.
Oh yeah.
And of course, I got a room, no problem. And because I went out there, I was asked to sing at the Daisy Theater. It was not planned. John Del Toro Richardson asked me to sing with him.
Yeah, he's a good one too.
And it was just one of those magical moments, everything just worked right. The band was great. The stage was great. The sound was great. And Mike Vernon, the legendary British blues producer,
Right.
happened to be there.
For those of you guys that don't know Mike Vernon, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I mean, like that name just alone should drop people. So, because I mean, it's Clapton, it's Bowie, it's John Mayall,
Yeah.
the list goes on and on. This guy is like, he's a heavy, right?
Yeah,
He's that guy.
he's that guy.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So Mike Vernon,
Mike
Daisy,
Vernon.
you're singing.
And I'll tell you a really, really weird coincidence. I had actually met him a few hours before. That very day, they were giving out awards to the producer of the year, agent of the year, record company of the year, and Mike was being honored. And I didn't even know about this award ceremony, but I ran into a friend who said, "Hey, I'm on my way to the ceremony. You coming?" And I was like, I didn't know about it. But the ticket was really expensive. I mean, the ticket was going to blow my meal budget for the next 2 days.
Right.
But I decided to go for it. I decided, because he said to me, this is an award for people behind the scenes. And it's great to support them, not just the, artists out front.
Absolutely.
And I said, yeah, absolutely. I'm going. I bought a ticket. And every single person who spoke, now I'm now sitting there. I'm on my own. I've just officially ended my relationship with this sort of manager. And I have no gigs. I have nothing. I'm not working with Joe anymore. And I'm like in a state of limbo.
Sure.
And uncertainty and insecurity and desperation. But I'm trying to be cool, and I'm sitting in there, and everyone who gets up to accept an award, I'm thinking, that's the person I got to talk to. And then the next one, no, that guy.
Right.
And then Mike Vernon gets up and he says, I'm retired. I'm living in Spain now. And he talks about, this beautiful story about his career and how he just lost his wife. And it was so touching. And I just felt, that's the guy I want to meet, even though that's the only guy accepting an award today that can do absolutely nothing for your career. But it just also felt genuine. It's
Right.
like I didn't have to give him a compliment and be duplicitous, like, oh, congratulations, and by the way. So it just was perfect. So afterwards, everyone was crowded around him, and I didn't want to hover, so I squeezed past everyone, and I just said, hey, I just wanted to say congratulations. And as he was saying, who are you? I turned around and I walked out, and that was it. And I felt okay. I did the right thing. I didn't, monopolize
Sure.
the moment. I said what I had to say, and that was it. And later that night, who knew? And The next day, later in the day, he said, he found me in I don't know, listening to music in one of the venues. He's like,
Sure.
I've been looking everywhere for you.
Oh,
And
wow.
why didn't you tell me you were performing? And da-da-da.
Right, right.
And then the questions. So do you write? What do you write? Can I hear? What are you doing? Who's producing you? Da-da-da. And he said, look, is anyone making a record with you right now? And it didn't take me long to answer. I was like, no. No. No one I can think of. No, wait a minute. No.
Oh, man.
And he said, okay, let me hear your stuff and we'll take it from there. But if it's as good as I think it might be, I will come out of retirement and produce a record for you.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That's great.
I know. And there I am, the nobody until you're somebody.
Oh, my God.
And yeah, he was serious. I've had record deals before, and I've had major management deals.
Right, right.
And somehow things generally don't end up the way you expect them to. You have to be prepared for all kinds of surprises.
Oh, my gosh. It's, the
So-
old, like, Hunter S. Thompson quote that everybody sees about the music business is, I mean, it just fits right there. Yeah, absolutely. And the biz in and of itself, it's a place where you kind of got to expect the unexpected, because more than likely that's what's going to happen anyway.
That is.
Yeah,
And you don't raise your expectations because you don't want to be disappointed.
exactly.
So you try to be cool. So I get back to New York, and I'm wondering if I'm gonna get the email follow up, and sure enough, Mike is so reliable. Everything he says he's gonna do, he does. And I send him songs, and that was really hard. It's like, how do you choose? Like, I had hundreds of songs. How do I choose? My career is on the line here. But I sent over 3 songs, and then he loved them and he wanted more. And then he set up a session right away. He said, you got to come to Spain. I've got a band already put together for you.
Wow. So he's just working fast. He's just like, just get out here.
But then I nearly had a heart attack, because the first session was at Mike's villa. Gorgeous, gorgeous villa. In the mountains, surrounded by acres of olive trees. And it's just like, you feel like you've died and gone to heaven. It's like a place I could write an album every day if I was spent my life there. And we sit down at the table with his guitar player, and he passes over a blank white piece of paper and a pen, and he's like, okay, let's start to write something. And I'm realizing it's not exactly an audition, but he wants to see
Sure.
my process and everything.
Absolutely.
But what I haven't told him is that although I hear melodies, I hear them all the time. I hear them now. Do you hear that?
I'm that guy as well. So you ask me that, chances are I'm going to be like, yes. Yes, I do.
But the lyrics, that's another
Yeah,
thing.
That's another thing.
I really, I can spend a day writing a word. I spend more time erasing lyrics, crossing them out, throwing them out, than actually achieving anything when I'm writing lyrics. And
Well, you
it's-
also used the word duplicitous
Yeah, that
just
word.
a little bit ago. That word.
I'll only use it once.
I wish more people use that word. Go figure.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, right. There we go.
So, I was in a panic. I really was in a panic. And, I was sweating even more than I am now, because I have this light on me because it's dark here in Brooklyn. And although I prefer to do my interviews in the dark, and as I told you before, I normally only go out at night.
Right.
I figured, I wanted to be professional for
Oh,
you.
sorry, you killed me.
It's hot. You're making me so hot, Ken.
I have that effect.
So anyway,
Yes.
so I'm at the table sweating.
Okay.
My heart is pounding.
That's kind of what I thought.
And I look at the shelf, and there's a picture of Mike's beautiful late wife, Natalie,
Oh my gosh.
and an entire lyric comes into my head. A song called Letting Go that's on the debut album. And that has never happened to me before. I have never had a completely formed lyric or completely formed anything come into my head besides chaos. But this song, it was such a gift, and I wrote it down and sang. I heard the melody, and I was even able to tell the guitar player, what chord changes I was hearing. And that was the first song. And then after that, we wrote two more. And the second song, Cat and Mouse, I was really struggling with the final hook, and I couldn't get it. But all the other lyrics are really good. But luckily, the drive from where Mike's villa was to the recording studio in Sevilla was about 2 hours. So I had 2 hours in the car to finish the lyric. And I think as we were pulling up to the recording studio, and I was praying for traffic. And I finished it. I got the lyric just as we hit the studio.
Wow.
And went in and met everyone. Hola, ¿cómo está? Me gusta conocerle. Vámonos jugar. And yeah, I was like, shit.
Now you're making me homesick.
All right. That's right. We can speak Spanish.
Muy poquito. Así.
Pero algunas veces yo necesito practicar. Por favor, ayúdame. Wait to hear me do Chinese. It's
unbelievable.
I don't have my Chinese sexy voice yet. I'm still working on that.
Oh my God.
But I was in China, so I thought, with all due respect to the Chinese audiences who were brave enough to come out to see me, I would learn a classic Chinese song called Sujiga, which I did learn and sing every night. And you're going to want me to sing that right now, aren't you? But I won't. I can't, because you wouldn't understand the lyrics, because it's 20달러 루망窗 大个洋窗下就有暗呀 各样一样我去吧 大不要很呀个地方 That's it. And everyone in China is applauding right now.
There we go. Yes, because they're all watching this, and they're tuning in right now.
It's a beautiful song about.
That was gorgeous. That was absolutely gorgeous.
A girl is sitting at a window, and she's sewing, and she's looking out for her lover, who is far out at sea somewhere, and she doesn't know if he's coming back. And I don't think he comes back. I mean, that's my interpretation.
Sure.
And she's just sewing, and yeah. And what I didn't know is, because I chose to do this song, the promoter decided, even without telling me, to hire a Chinese beautiful dance troupe.
Oh my gosh.
And there were 30 gorgeous girls performing this, really elegant, ornate dance all around me. And no one thought to tell me about it, though. Interesting. It's the same thing with the moving stages. They have these big giant stages that move in fog. They love fog, and you never know when the end of the stage is.
Oh man. And I'm one of those guys that's just I'm not about the fog.
No.
Yeah, no. It's just murder, like, on the sinuses, and just like trying to sing in that. And there's those folks that are like, no. These ones are okay. You can totally breathe, and it doesn't. No, it's still bad. I can't do
bad.
it. I get choked. I totally try and sing, and I'm trying to push some air, and it's just like, it ain't happening. It ain't
I know.
happening.
We've had discussions with photographers who are like, but please, a little bit of fog just makes the photos look so much better.
God. So you're like going to China. You're recording in this villa with a legend.
Yeah.
And I mean, but God, like,
I've done it all.
You're apparently. I mean, no, I'm so serious. So for those of you that are tuning in, checking this out, listening on the podcast, which will be up after we're done here. How do I put this? I'm floored because I'm getting to know Sari. We've never met. I became a fan of her music, and we corresponded through the magic of technology. You see, technology, and yeah, Instagram, probably to be exact. But man, I'm floored. That's such a beautiful thing too about this day and age in the biz, and maybe for lockdown too. But like just in the biz in general, where people that you admire are actually somewhat approachable. You can message your heroes, your favorites and stuff like that, and that's how I did it with Sari. And the thing is, I'm blown away because the more I keep hearing, not just her music but this story, I want to know more. Like you have done a lot. You've done a lot. Like so from growing up, you knew what you wanted to do essentially, right? You were singing and you get the legends and you're doing all that. But you seem to have broken Europe, of all places. How did that work out?
When Mike and I finished the record, he had a very clear idea where he thought the best home for it would be, and that was with Manhattan Records. Ironically, they are in the UK. And he chose Manhattan Records because he had worked with the label owner, Alan Robinson. They had a label together called Code Blue. That was after Mike founded Blue Horizon.
Sure.
And they had a lot of success together, and they have a great relationship. And Mike said, Alan is someone you can trust. He's got great ears. He believes, strongly in the artists that he works with, but he's very particular, and he's not going to even if he loves the album, he's not going to make a quick decision. So, understand it's going to take some time.
Right.
He'll want to come and meet me. He'll want to come and see us play live, which he did. And he came to the studio. We were doing overdubs in England with Ollie Brown, who's a tremendous guitar player.
Yes.
Ollie was only supposed to play on one or two tracks, but we literally kidnapped him. We said, "You're not going." We spun him around. He couldn't find the door. We just said, "Sit down, play, keep playing."
Yes.
So we were really lucky to have him on the album. And remember that Alan came in, and it was just like immediately, he didn't have that, I'm the record executive vibe thing happening, which is he wasn't pretentious. He was really focused on the music. The questions he asked were thoughtful, and right away I got this great feeling, and I had made up my mind that I would sign with him. And I'm not sure when he decided, but it wasn't too much time, after we first met and he saw me play, that he said, "Yeah, I'm excited about this." And I was really impressed with the work he did with Eric Bibb. He also has Robin Trower on his label for the UK. So
who?
Yeah.
Who? Robin? Oh, God. Man.
And can you believe we were so lucky to open for Robin, and because of COVID, that tour was canceled. But we are hoping, we still have something on the books with Robin for this fall, and we're hoping that it's going to happen.
Man, have you performed with him at all, or opened for him at all in the past?
Yeah.
He's a good one, man. Yeah, we did an amazing theater with him, and I'm in awe of that guy. He's still going. He still sounds amazing.
He's incredible.
Yeah, he's a God. Yeah, our show with him was several years back, but it still left such a mark with me. Just his operation and the venue and just how he controlled his instrument. I'm a guitar player, so I'm just I'm just in awe of that man. That guy just says so much with so little. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not about all the crazy effects, and it's not all about, it's just him and a guitar, and every once in a while throwing on a little, univibe or something. But man, it's just him, and it sounds so good. So yeah, that's great.
I think what people don't realize is how disciplined he is. Like to see him backstage, he's really focused before he goes on stage. It's very serious, and you don't talk to him, before a show. And he works hard. When he's on tour, he's practicing every day. In fact, a big, huge show came up. I mean, this is between us, right?
Right. And China, who's watching. Yeah, the Chinese audience that we have.
And it wasn't, I imagine for a small amount of money, but it was well after the tour was over, and he turned it down because he said he's would not be in that routine of practicing every day and preparing for a show. So he gives his fans everything.
That's amazing. That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's, 75 maybe?
I think so.
Yeah, right around there. We can, can Google it up. But, I mean, regardless, it's like for a guy who's 75 who still has that work ethic, that's an amazing thing.
I mean, we worked with the same tour managers in the past, and Al would bring Robin's guitars into the hotel room, so he could practice.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's dedication.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yep.
How did you discover your style?
Well,
I guess both vocally and musically.
that's a good question. To be honest, I think it was more a question of self-actualization, understanding who I was, because I was given this instrument, and it came with a big range. I have over 5 octaves, and it has a lot of power to it.
Wow.
But because some things came very easy for me that present challenges for a lot of other singers, I took it for granted. And I felt to pursue something artistically, it has to be hard. You got to struggle. And I had decided that I started out singing rock, and then decided I want to be a jazz singer because I was really far away from where I was vocally and where I was naturally, and thought, I want to refine my voice and get away from the big brush strokes and do the subtle nuance things.
Sure.
And
Wow.
and I want to be Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Billie Holiday. And I really tried. And I studied those vocalists. I would sleep listening. I'd have a CD player next to me in bed with headphones, and I'd fall asleep listening to them singing so that it would penetrate my subconscious so that I could sound exactly like Sarah Vaughan. And it didn't work. It just didn't work. And I would do recording sessions with jazz bands, because I was good enough to get the gigs and good enough to be offered sessions, but not good enough to really succeed the way I wanted to. And in the recording studio, I literally would lay down on my back and sing with the mic in my hand just to try to diminish the volume of my voice.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it was like, as you get older and you start to accept who you are, and then and then I had actually started feeling guilty about pursuing music when there were so many problems in the world, and why aren't I doing things that are much more outwardly focused? I'm working on my career all the time, and I got into humanitarian work, and now I'm off in India, and then I'm off in Haiti after the earthquake, and I'm there 100% committed to making a difference, changing the world. And it's not happening. The problems are so big. They require so much more than my dream to fix them.
Right.
And I left disillusioned and broken. And it was right at this time I came back and I was doing a gig, and a woman came up to me and asked me, what are you doing with the gift you've been given? And it was like accusatory. And she really caught me off guard, and I didn't have a good answer for her. And she said, well, it is a crime to take for granted something so precious as a gift, and we're all given gifts. And for you not to embrace the gift is a loss for all those people who are supposed to enjoy that gift. And for the first time, I started to think about, well, maybe through music is the way for me to create something positive. And maybe if I can become successful enough where I have a big enough platform, then I'll be in a better position to initiate change. And
Or at least raise consciousness,
right? Yeah.
Awareness.
So it shifted my focus. And I wish I could thank her. It really made such a huge impression on me. She was just the way, she just knew exactly what I needed to hear at that exact moment.
It's amazing when that happens.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. So that was really a gift, and I took it seriously. And after that, I thought, okay, there is a reason, and nothing happens by accident.
No.
Right? It's just there's too many things, in all of our lives, that are signs all the time that there is something much, much bigger than ourselves. And it's just so arrogant for me to think, that I should know everything. So it was really humbling. And now I'm grateful. I really, every time I get on stage, touring is very easy for me. Performing is easy because it's not about me. When I get up on the stage, it is really about the audience. And I am the vehicle, I am the storyteller, and I am there to deliver a message and allow an audience to share in an emotion that might not be quite as accessible to them without having this song help lead them to a place of understanding and recognition. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about music. Like we hear a great song that touches us, like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I didn't know how to express that, and it just connects us. And that's my job. It's my job, just connecting people with their higher self and the fact that we're all spiritual beings having a human experience.
Absolutely. But I mean, here's the beautiful thing too. If I were to even break it down further, right? Or just simplify it. And ultimately the way that I would be looking at it is just, there's, like you were saying, there's so much going on in the world, and there's so many problems, and it's so hard to fix all of these problems, right? And the thing is more often than not, we're all pretty aware of what's going on. And I've always kind of approached the music thing somewhat like that, but maybe on a more simplistic level, because Mr. Simpleton over here, right? But no, it's just when you have so much going on in this world, even in this country, in this state right now, we're dealing with this trial that is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. You have all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, here are these people that are gathering to go catch some music and just forget about life for just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to look at that as there's my responsibility. Okay, like I am honored and happy and thrilled that I am able to make my living doing what I love. And these people have paid their good money to come and see me, or whatever. I'm going to do what I can to just let them, like, they've been going through the same stuff that we go through. We're lucky because we enjoy what we do, right? We enjoy what we do. But man, I'll tell you right now, just to know that you're giving just a little bit of love out there to that crowd and letting them just, it's all right for a little bit, man.
Yeah.
It's not about the problems, even just like the real heavy stuff. The like, again, we're dealing with this trial right now. So the racism, politics, beliefs, this, that, the other, color, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just for that minute, everybody's just having a good time, and they're there because music is that powerful. I love that. That's what does it for me, and it's awesome to hear the way that you described it for you, because it's just this. I don't know. It definitely it's all the same, but you the way you just said it was so much more. It's like yes, absolutely.
But I can hear the way you play that you approach your instrument with so much generosity. I mean, it's all about giving. There are a lot of musicians who this is gonna I'm gonna piss some people off, but
Do it.
okay,
Do it.
they can play their asses off, right? But they're selfish. They're selfish. They're playing for themselves, and they don't care about the audience, and they're there. The audience is there to serve them. The audience is there to serve their ego. And okay, let's face it, it's always a struggle to keep your ego out of it, because it does feel good.
Oh, absolutely.
When people respond, but when you approach it, like I can hear it in your playing, with such an open heart and such love for what you're doing, it doesn't become about you anymore.
I'm just trying not to mess up.
Right? See, it's funny. It's like that is exactly what the greatest artists say, right? They're the most humble. And it's funny, the people I've met, like Robin Ford and Billy Gibbons, these guys, they are so humble.
Right.
And they are, right? Because they're not using music to prove something. That's the thing. They're not using their talent to prove how good they are. No. They know they're talented. They have that. They own that. They're using their talent in a really generous way. And I can hear it. And you know what? The audience can hear it too.
I hope so, because I mean that's the power, right?
Well, you've got that.
Oh, don't stop.
Yeah. Oh, don't stop. Well, I've been listening. I've been listening to your albums.
No,
I started at the beginning. I started with Approach.
That's amazing, man. Yeah,
It.
that album freaks me out, because that's a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Look how it holds up, though.
Oh,
right?
I don't even know how it holds up.
Because it's good.
Shucks, man.
Because it's
I
just good.
appreciate that. Goodness. Yeah, I mean, I could say the same thing about you. I'm amazed at what you do, because it's I don't know how to explain it. It's real. It's.
Well, it comes, it comes from life experience,
right,
too, and it's great to be young. Oh, if we could only stay young forever, right? Wouldn't that be so wonderful?
Incredible.
But it's everything we do. Not just as artists, but how we are as human beings, how we deal with our problems, deal with problems with other people. All of this stuff just gets better as we get older, because we get better at all these things
Oh, I
because
think
of
that we
life
probably
experience.
it's experience and understanding, right?
Yeah.
So let's go here
Yeah.
then, okay? You have had a wonderful career, and for I still think that you're just you're still going. That's not
Hopefully,
gonna
just
stop.
getting started.
Yeah, it's kind of the deal, right? Yeah, and I'm hoping too, you know. But you take a look at a lot of the newer acts coming up, and newer just the youngsters, what they're listening to, what they're playing, what they're writing, so on and so forth. How do you feel about that? Like, what's your take on modern music and those making it?
I think they have it so much harder than I did. I feel sorry for them. I really do, because
Interesting.
there is so much pressure on the personality of the artist because of social media. They have
Right.
to have a presence on, well, not for them on Facebook, but Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat and all these other new formats that are coming up every day, and it's creating reels and creating mini videos and and it just doesn't stop. And when there's that much focus on how you're looking and how you're dancing and what you're singing and all this, it is such a distraction to the art.
Right.
It is, no one has time to really focus. I mean, a few artists do, but to strip away all of that distraction and get down to what really counts, what really
Right.
matters.
Yes. Yes.
And then you hear, these artists in their teens or their 20s crying, I've been doing this my whole life. I just, want to be famous and successful. And your whole life. You haven't even had a life yet.
Right. Right.
Your life hasn't begun if you're lucky.
God,
I had a negative COVID test yesterday, so I'm just getting started.
Yeah, there we go. I got my first vaccine this weekend, so
Yay!
watch out, world.
I'm going tomorrow for my second one.
Boom! See how this is working out? Yeah, we're gonna be collaborating for sure, man. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
spend some time with you. You're too much fun. Oh my goodness. I mean, I guess looking at the biz the way that it is right now, right?
Yeah.
I also find it fascinating that, and this is a whole thing that we can talk about forever too. But since this is a conversation that we're having at this point, I've kind of found that a lot of young artists right now aren't necessarily focusing on the craft or like picking up a guitar, or learning an instrument. Like a lot of it is just laid out in technology, and it's amazing how they manipulate technology and how they work that in and of itself is a talent. And I'm not gonna I can't do that. I don't know how they're doing it, but that's what they're doing. But I also feel that it takes away so much, like it's instant gratification. I can't.
Yeah.
This is what our society has become. This is what our artists have become. It's just
Yeah.
I need that gratification instantly.
Yep.
Nanoseconds of with like an attention span, right? And it's like, well, I don't know how to play a guitar. I don't know if I want to learn a guitar. That's not going to get me from point A to point B any faster. But then there's artists like us who are we old school? God, that's I don't know. I don't like that.
No, I'll tell you what we are.
What are we?
We are lucky that, once again, we are lucky. I'm not the luckiest. I think the musicians that really came through the 60s had it even better than us.
I'm going to go with the 70s.
Right. 70s? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, I would say, yeah, maybe to the late
Like
70s.
early to
Yeah.
mid 70s, yeah. I mean, because in my opinion, that's when rock
Yeah.
and roll changed. Everything was like all bets were off.
But we have failed our younger generation by cutting music programs from schools. How do we expect kids, to be inspired to pick up a guitar,
Right.
and to learn the craft and to understand what patience and discipline it takes because you can get everything on your phone, and you can, you've got every, beat you want in the world you can sample, or you can create your
Right.
own beats. Nothing. I have an app that'll do it in 2 seconds, but not doing your homework is what is such a great loss to so many of these musicians. I'm not even going to call them artists, because they may never grow into artists because they haven't done their homework, and it's not their fault, because we failed them by not exposing them to the proper education. But at some point, we all have to take responsibility too. We have, what I tell young artists all the time is, do your homework. Find an artist that you like. Find a singer, a guitar player.
Yes.
Find out who their influences were,
Yes.
and study that guitar player.
Go
Then
back
go
in
back.
time.
Go
Yes.
back. Go
Yes.
back. Go back.
God.
Right?
Yeah.
Because then once you got the foundation and you've done your homework, then it's a springboard, and you can go so much further with it, knowing what's come before. It's just, you have to have that foundation to be, the greatest artist you can be. And it's any kind of art. Picasso studied, classical art, before he did the abstract work he did. Writers,
Right.
it goes the same for everybody. But
Right.
you gotta, we live in that world of, instant gratification. And I
Right.
was feeling it today when I'm practicing piano, and thinking, wow, it's taken a long time. I really need to get on to, some business. But that was a great thing about living in Paris. You never felt that time pressure that you feel in New York to get things done.
Oh my goodness. But I mean, that's another part of the biz right now too. It's a beautiful time in the business, because as the artists have won, in a sense, have control, can do. There's we've talked about this on this show several times, about the inundation of artists. Like, there's so many that you have to weed through until you find those diamonds in the rough, right? And it's and then there's no more record deals necessarily. There's you're fighting for streams, which you're making percentages of a penny per stream, and some people don't get it, but it's all instant gratification. So it's like this weird double-edged sword, where it's like, all right, I can listen to your records, which I've done, throughout the last week in particular, but just like, I've been doing this since I heard you. I was like, I'm hooked. I'm listening to her. But man, gearing up for this conversation, I'm listening, and it's right there in the palm of my hand. I can pull it up immediately. That's cool. But if you're the artist that's making that music, and it's like, you got to find, this is what we do for a living.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's really difficult when people don't realize, hey,
Yeah.
back in the day, you guys used to pay $20 for a CD, and now it's like, it's just trying to find our way in this business. Everything's changing. Everything changed.
That's why I'll be touring until I'm 120.
That's
You know?
my plan. I wrote that out yesterday. 120. I'm playing New Jersey.
I'll open for you.
I'll open for you. Are you kidding?
I had a serious conversation with my record label about Spotify, and I said, you know what, it's the necessary evil, but I'd like to take a different approach, and I would like not to release anything on Spotify. But the label's not in a position to do that, because there's distributors, and there is
Right.
a whole network, and the truth is, it helps drive ticket sales. People discover us on Spotify, and they come to shows.
Yes.
So
Yes. Well, I mean, the other thing too is, that's how I was able to listen to you.
yeah.
And at this point in time, and this is the way that I hope that all of you guys that are checking this out are approaching this as well. If you go listen to Sari's music on Spotify, or if you listen to my music on Spotify, if you listen to anybody's music on Spotify, and it's not just Spotify, whatever platform, right? I'm not going to let anybody off that easy. I don't use Spotify. I use Apple Music. All right, whatever, right? Doesn't matter. Any platform that you're using and you're listening to our music, Sari's mine, whoever, if you really like it, go to that artist's page or find a place for them for the download. Get the download, because those funds go to the artists, or at least more so than fractions of pennies, number one. And also spread the love. Tell people about Sari. Tell people about me. Tell people about your favorite artist. Help drive that traffic. This is grassroots at this point, right? Yeah. And then go to the show. I think that all of us right now, because we haven't even, I'm just looking at the time, and I'm like, God, I can keep on talking with you, but it's just like, we haven't even talked about what you're doing during the pandemic. We haven't even gotten into this like area at all, but it's like, I would assume that the people that are watching and listening right now are hopefully really looking forward to going and catching a live show again. There's nothing, you can't substitute that. You have a great record, but I'd really, that's a great live record, but I really want to see it. I want to know what you're doing on that stage, and I want to know what that guitar player is playing through and what he's doing on that stage and how this all works together, because when you talk about working in concert and going to concerts, that word concert is a big deal.
It is.
We can't do what we do without the crowd, and the crowd doesn't have anybody to listen to without us that are making the music.
Yeah. Especially when, for me as a songwriter, I consider myself a storyteller.
Right.
First and foremost. So when I'm on stage, I'm telling a story. And when you have that kind of communication with an audience, it becomes its own thing, and it changes every show. And I can change the meaning of a lyric by where I put an inflection, or how I change an expression on my face.
Right.
So these things are only achievable when you're in a room together.
That's
people.
right. That's right. That's powerful, man.
It's magic. It's really some kind of magic that happens for everyone.
God, I have enjoyed this conversation so much. I needed this so much. Before we get away from here, before we say our goodbyes, this is what we do here. What's your top 3 desert island records?
Oh my, well, Ken Valdez Approach.
Oh my God. I can't, I'll build a raft with it. Or it might sink to the bottom.
Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble.
These are the 3 that like you're taking with you. These are the ones that define you. These are the ones. So it's not about appeasing anybody. It's about like, hey man, I have 3 records to listen to, and that's it.
Well, then I'm gonna cheat. I'm just gonna say like Led Zeppelin greatest hits and Bob Dylan greatest hits. I can't be without. Look at that. I used to carry this book on tour with me. Can you imagine?
What do we got there? Is it the Chronicles, or what is it?
It's
the lyrics.
The full lyrics. There it is.
If you have no idea what my family is like. My sister-in-law, my wife. Oh my God, unbelievable. Yeah. Oh my God, it's borderline, stalker-tastic, kind of freaky. They love Bob Dylan.
I'm coming over.
So much. I think Bob would probably be like, not going there.
I had the pleasure of meeting Bob.
Oh, man. Now you're killing me. All right. Yeah.
But
God.
I wish I could tell you it was one of those moments where, he turned and saw me and it gave me this big embrace. No, it was nothing like that.
Yeah.
Although Paul McCartney and I were going to run away together.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we were on a bill together. Can you believe it? The craziest
You're
thing.
Killing me right now.
But it was only in my mind that this happened. It was not. But I was sure. I I was really sure of it. I was waiting. I was like all set. I was packing. We were doing a show in Vegas, of all places.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
And then,
Unbelievable. So
yeah,
we got Bob Dylan's greatest hits, and we got Zeppelin's greatest hits.
I love Led Zeppelin.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Zeppelin tune? Oh, that's hard too.
It is. I don't. I know you've spoken to Papa Chubby, right? We did.
No, I haven't
No?
spoken to him. No, Ted's a trip. I remember talking to Albert Castiglia about Papa, about Ted. Yeah,
Albert's great.
Albert's awesome.
Yeah, he really is. Well, Ted and I did a trip, this Led Zeppelin tribute together at a place in Manhattan. It's a cool venue, but they have the biggest roaches you've ever seen in your life.
Oh my God! Yikes!
Yeah, they're huge. They're scary. They really are. But yeah, no, I would love to. In fact, on my wish list is to do a recording with Robert.
Yeah,
So-
I would love that. That
was-
makes sense to me. I hope
There
that
was
you
some,
get that.
Yeah, I hope so. There was
Yeah.
some chatter.
Throw that out into the universe, man.
A couple of years ago when
Yeah.
I because I was playing in Bath, where he's not far away from, and he was supposed to come down to his show, but something happened.
He's also a very avid listener and viewer of this. So
I'm sure he's got very
Robert.
good taste.
I want this to happen. Okay, what's number 3?
Let's see. I would say, you know what? This is going to sound so arrogant, but I'm going to say my live album.
Boom! I
You know
love
why?
it.
You know why?
Tell me why.
Because if I'm on a desert island, that means I can't play live anymore with my band. And I love them so much. And just having them with me,
Sure. That's an
would-
awesome answer, but
Yeah.
that's such a cool answer.
that would really, because they're my second family, and the band, and it works because we really like each other. And you can't,
That's awesome.
You can't fake that stuff.
No, you can't.
You just can't fake it.
No.
And like, I feel like I can take chances, and if I screw up, they're still going to be there. I don't have to worry like I turn around and they'll all be gone.
Right. No, I hear you. I hear you. I've got those guys myself, and I love them.
God, we just laugh. We laugh so much. I really, they're the most talented guys I've ever worked with, and they're the funniest too.
Yeah.
And the English are funny anyway, so they're just really hilarious.
God.
I know.
So before we go, so you do like a Friday show, right? On Facebook here.
I do, yeah. It's a Friday live chat, and people send in questions, and I answer them, or I talk about political things, social things, whatever things I hope people will find amusing and interesting and inspiring. And I have to tell you, when I first started, I would get such a stomach ache because I was so nervous. I could go on the stage in front of 10,000 people and not sweat it at all. But doing this, I was petrified. I really was. It took me almost the whole year to get comfortable with it. But now it was a way for me to be able to stay in touch
Sure.
with some fans. I knew some of these great people were really struggling, not being able to go to live shows, and so I was just trying to think of a way, in my own way, to stay connected and do it a little differently. So
Right.
that's what I came up with.
That's awesome. Where can people find you and your music?
So on Facebook, Sari Schorr Music, and the website is sarischorr.com. And I'm in Brooklyn. Should I give you my address?
I'll be there in 5 minutes.
I live all alone with my 3 pit bulls
Tell me more. It's so freaky.
and
So-
neighbors who are very sound sensitive. But they're sensitive, which I love. I love them for that.
That's awesome. And this is why we weren't able to play some music for y'all. This, Just to let y'all know. But man, this interview and this conversation has been fantastic. So I love it. So you got Facebook, you got a website at all?
A website, yeah. SariSchorr.com and Twitter, Sari Schorr, Instagram, guess, Sari Schorr.
Love it.
So,
Make
yeah,
it easy.
and the record company Manhattan Records.
Manhattan.
Yep.
If you guys have not checked out her music, you need to. You need to. This is one artist that I, was so happy to discover recently. I haven't been able to stop listening, and it turns out that she's just a sweetheart, and I have enjoyed this so very much. So very much. I have a new friend.
Yes, you
and
do.
I am so excited because I want to do some collaborating with you.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, and if you ever want to take me out to Europe,
Yeah.
I will do my best to fit into the luggage overhead. I'll find a way. I'm a big guy, but I'll find a way to get in there. So
You have a big heart, and there's always room for that.
shucky ducky now, everybody. This is Sari Schorr, and I am so happy to have her on here. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
We got Mike Zito next week, everybody. My buddy's back, and it's going to be a lot of fun to talk to him. And man,
Yeah,
this
tell Mike
interview-
I said hi.
You got it. This interview is going to be uploaded very, very soon to all podcast platforms. So go check that out. Go subscribe. Go give us that 5-star rating. That whole thing, because that helps visibility, if you will, and it helps artists like Sari get known more by people in China. I think they're already avid watchers. So we're looking at Indonesia next. So there we go. But anyway, you're awesome.
International.
Yes, we're going international, baby. That's just the way it is. Yes. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see y'all next week. Much love. Be good to each other. Take care of one another. Bye-bye.